Hello there, Gemini, and welcome to your June 2025 tarot reading. What a month for Geminis, right? At the moment, Mercury, the Sun, and Jupiter and the Moon are in the sign of Gemini, just really illuminating your essence. You know, we're all finding out now collectively what it means to have that open-mindedness, to not be afraid to ask the questions, to not be afraid to challenge status quo and the norm. And that, you know, it's just so important that we continue to remind ourselves throughout our life to keep an open mind and to never stop learning. And Gemini, thank you for that. Thank you for being you. Let's have a look at what's in store on the tarot for your month ahead. I'll start by pulling 3 cards, kind of like a what's been going on, then the present energy, and then the upcoming near future. And then what we'll do is continue to pull tarot cards throughout this reading. So I have the King of Wands. You're entering June, you're entering your month very strong, very distinguished. People are looking up to you. People are actually going to you for the answers. And it feels good, you know. I also have an Ace of Wands, which is some sort of an opportunity that has yet to reach you this month. It's going to be something that you are, sorry, my bad, it's the Two of Wands. Well, why is there only one wand there? Then tell me that. Okay, so I'm asking that question. I'm wondering why. Okay, so this is the Two of Wands. So this actually suggests that this month you have to make a decision based off a recent inspiration or idea or plan. Now you have to actually do something about it, but the Chariot is here to suggest that there is a upwards trajectory or like a lot of momentum behind you, and the Chariot is very much about not losing sight of your goals this month, continuing to dream big, but also not letting go of the momentum, or like basically there could be chaos this month. And I think you're comfortable with that in a sense, Gemini, because you're so mutable and adaptive. However, the pace in which June is set to go for you and the kind of acceleration, I suppose, that's taking place, you're almost being slingshotted or catapulted into a timeline or a set of circumstances that once you're there, you won't want to hold back. You'll want to just keep going with this force. So hold on tight is basically what I'm saying, okay? These are really strong cards to come through initially. So obviously when we see the King of Wands, we're talking about either a person has come into your life in late May or June, and they represent to you some sort of an ideal or a kind of a goals energy. This is somebody that you would like to learn from or even be more like, or kind of, you know, buddy up with. Could you take me under your wing? You might be wondering about this person. So it's either that or you are becoming that person to another Gemini, that you're becoming this person that others are looking to in order to kind of get clarity or to be inspired by or to be motivated by. I feel like this King of Wands is kind of like a life coach energy. So are you the life coach, or are you seeking somebody like that, or somebody like that has come into your life? Not necessarily like an exact, that's what it is literally. But to be honest with you, I feel like, you know, this is very much about you becoming this person at one point in your life anyway for another, you know. So it's either this person is coming in and they're mirroring to you, and then they're saying, like, Gemini, you're going to eventually be at this kind of pinnacle yourself. The King of Wands and the Chariot together also bodes really well for a period of a career high or some sort of a like seamlessness in your career, or just some sort of an like easy answer right now. It's like this makes so much sense to you. The Two of Wands does suggest, though, even though things are accelerating for you, you will have to make a decision, and we'll look deeper into these cards now, I guess. So I will let you know that if this reading resonates for you, I'll go deeper in an extended version, and I'll link that down below, okay? But if this is all you're sticking around for, please be sure to like, to share, to subscribe, so that you don't miss out when I post again for the sign of Gemini. Okay, what's flying out of the deck here now? The Page of Swords, and at the bottom of the deck I have an Ace of Pentacles. This represents another opportunity. So this is finally an ace, right? Okay, it is an ace this time. This Ace of Pentacles is something that you want to have to speak up on, Gemini. Don't let something pass you by. Don't procrastinate on an offer or opportunity that comes up for you this month, because somebody wants you to do a job for them, or somebody wants to hire you or offer you something. Somebody wants to bring you along for the ride. Maybe it's this King of Wands. Maybe somebody just wants to accelerate your success. But because of a time sensitive matter, they need your response right away. The King of Swords is about getting back to somebody. It's about communication. It's about like rapid speed. Okay, so this is a quick month. Collectively, I always feel like the experience of Gemini season is a little faster. I mean, ever since the sun moved into Gemini on May 20th, May is zipping by, whereas before, during Taurus season, like the first 3 weeks of May were really, I enjoyed it. It was nice and kind of slow paced and embodied, but now information and activity is buzzing all around the collective, and you're at an advantage because this is energy that you're just used to embodying anyway, you know? Okay, so let's look at the King of Wands a little deeper. I'm going to move these beautiful flowers out of my way just a little bit. Okay, I have the Three of Swords and I have the Death card. Okay. If there is a person that has come into your life recently, it has been somewhat of a saving grace for you. It's been some sort of a healthy distraction or welcome kind of change, because it seems like for a little bit of time now, you have been stressed out or detached from your inner world. The Three of Swords, I actually have it here at the bottom of the deck in the more classic variety. Look, it really does sometimes, it looks painful, you know, there can be an element of suffering or stress or betrayal or heartbreak when we see the Three of Swords. So somebody has come into your life, or an event or a guide or some sort of an arm wrapped around you, been taken under a wing, almost in like a nick of time energy. And time is of the essence lately, Gemini, around work matters, around things that you're taking, I suppose, chances on, things that you want to do, decisions you have to make, answers you have to give. Also, just there has been this period that you're coming out of now where it has ended, Death card, with some sort of a painful realization, and it could be slightly jarring for you. And that's where that kind of nick of time energy is coming up. Like there has been a sort of saving grace here, or somebody has kind of like has really helped to hone in on the message for you, Gemini, that like, thank goodness that this unraveled or came to be when it was, where it was. You might look at these cards and sort of think like, well, this doesn't look like the right time and right place. It actually looks like something sad or devastating even. But was there a blessing in disguise somewhere there, Gemini? And was there somebody's presence there that made this kind of like a thank goodness that you were there, or something like that? Okay, if this King of Wands is you, and we're talking a little bit more about a romantic relationship, if that's the case, I get the impression that Three of Swords and Death card, something, and only take this as it resonates, of course, if you have been on the rocks with somebody, or if something has been coming to its natural end, it does seem like you kind of stepped up and rose to the difficult challenge of bringing that relationship to a close. Okay, there might be heartbreak there, and there might be an ending and a letting go. And others, you know, it was walking away from a job. It was, you know, I want these to be more on display. It was walking away from a job, you know, you probably had a great job at a corporation or just somewhere that you thrived. And like, great job at a corporation, I don't know if that really goes hand in hand, but that's what came to me. Might have even been like in a managerial role, or even this was your own business. You're the entrepreneur here, but a part of you made a painful realization that it was time to call it quits here and say goodbye to the role that you were playing there. And that comes with a mixed bag of emotions, I'm sure. And then I'm sure there comes the Two of Wands, which is very much like, okay, what's next? You're looking out at the horizon and you're wondering if there's a map. Actually, I've just noticed this person is wearing a map, so there could be questions about where to go next, where to visit next, where to move to. Maybe the move isn't necessarily geographical, but it's a move to another area of focus in your job or your career, or just a stage of your life now. You know, you're switching orientation towards a different kind of vibe overall. Like you're wondering, okay, what is out there for me still? This time. It's like, is it not too late for me to do this, or do I still have time? Do I still have time to visit these places? Do I still have time to relocate all over again? Do I have time to kind of turn my back on? This person has I think it's a noticeable symbol here, this tattoo on their back, representing kind of like the past and the permanence of what has been until now. Until now, the twos and tarot are always about options and what else could be, and asking those sort of questions, Gemini, you know, is anything permanent really? And just because something was long-standing with you for a bit, it's never too late to change. Is that possible? The Two of Wands is coming up with the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Cups. I don't think you like talking about this or hearing about this. More so, I don't think you like talking about this with others. I don't think that you want to run by your decision-making process with other people when you're in the midst of making significant choices. The choices that you're actually making at this time in your life, I think they go beyond June, but they also, you know, are kind of consequential. Obviously consequences can be really good and powerful and welcome, you know, and they can really set us up for another stage or era of our life where we think like, I am really pleased that I made those choices when I did. And I think that you are kind of being very cautious about where you share and who you share with. I think there's a particular person, Queen of Cups, I don't think this is you. I think there's a particular person, okay? They might be a relative, Queen of Cups. There's somebody that there's an emotional connection with this person. Or it's like a dear friend or a friend at least, but there's somebody anyway that does sit, you know, this body language, you know, it's very, you know, this is not welcoming body language. This looks like a kind of, I am the boss of you, or somewhat intimidating, arms like that on their hips, as well as the legs crossed. It's kind of putting a sort of deference between you and them, and there might be a bit of a sort of like intellectual superiority with this person, moral superiority, or just they think that they know better than you. That's annoying, right? And it's not like they're subtle about this. The Seven of Wands, like as you can see, I feel like that's you, Gemini, with your plate of food, and everybody's got something to say and kind of chiming in here, and it's a little bit odd stacked against you, it feels like. And even if it isn't like people ganging up on you or multiple people on this Queen of Cups side, their presence alone is sort of strong and formidable enough to feel overwhelming or somewhat stifling, somewhat devouring, kind of like a maternal energy. And it might be your mother, but it might not be either. And that's even more kind of confusing, because it's like, you're not my parent, like, okay, so back off. And this annoying Queen of Cups in your world in June is also somebody who has a very nurturing side, you know, has a very empathetic and kind nature deep down, but their delivery is from a place of superiority, or kind of saving, right? Like, this is a lifeguard, I think, and they're watching, they're kind of surveying. It's not, the thing that's annoying here is there isn't mutual vulnerability here. This person is collecting information, watching, overseeing you, and they're not reciprocating the vulnerability that you would prefer to see in order for you to share, to divulge, to kind of like say like, oh, these are my plans, and this is what I'm leaning towards, and these are my pros and cons, and things like that. And you know, maybe, you know, not for everybody, but they might be actually rallying the troops in a sense to kind of like, I feel like this would be somebody who would just like stage an intervention on you or something, or ambush you rather, catch you off guard. And it kind of makes you want to be more and more discreet about your what next and your deliberation phase. Okay, so that was kind of a specific one, but that Queen of Cups, she doesn't give me like, she probably has all of these amazing qualities that I'm just not seeing right now if I was to look a little deeper, but that's what I got for you. The Chariot card. Okay, this is going to be good, I think. Let's see what the Chariot card has in store. It is actually the card of the month of June, because it's the card associated with, well, it's the card associated with the summer solstice and the end of the month. So the end of the month, we have a new moon in Cancer, right? Yeah, new moon in Cancer. Jupiter moves into Cancer this month too. The sun moves into Cancer around that new moon, of course, sun and moon together in Cancer, and the summer solstice. So from around the 20th of the month onwards, this is kind of a new terrain for everybody, because that Gemini energy is coming to a close pretty distinctly. Before the 9th of June, while Jupiter, planet of expansion and faith and optimism and wisdom and philosophy and things like that, and your set of beliefs, is leaving the sign of Gemini, and Jupiter's been in Gemini since last summer. So there might be a final blessing for the sign of Gemini as Jupiter, great benefic, leaves that sign before June 9th. Let's have a look. The Nine of Pentacles, this is a little bit more financially benevolent and benefic, and the Three of Wands, but in reverse. Yes, blessings in disguise, Gemini, okay? Nine of Pentacles obviously looks very luxurious, thriving. Definitely these blessings are more obvious, and they come by way of financial gain, employment, maybe good package, good redundancy or severance package, kind of good tax rebate, or some sort of a investment or stock that turns out in your favor. The Nine of Pentacles also could just be a paycheck you've been waiting on, and it's more than you expected. If not that, the emotional or psychological benefit of this card is the feeling of satisfaction of having done something on your own and reaping the reward of it, instilling a greater sense of self-belief and high self-esteem, and just a feeling of like pride, patting your back on your shoulder. This is a really positive energy for something that comes through. I would say, I mean, I can't really narrow down a time. It is the Nine of Pentacles. Jupiter does leave on the 9th of June and heads from Gemini to Cancer. I wonder, is there a little kind of like goodbye from Jupiter in your favor in the next kind of week or so? It's possible, but it's also possible that this is going to be a blessing in the Cancer house instead, right? So there's a couple of things that could be happening here, but overall, the Three of Wands in reverse. That's very interesting, and I think that's exactly where we're going to have to kind of go ... from in the extended, because we've got the Two of Wands upright and now we've got the Three of Wands in reverse. So what about the weighing up of pros and cons and decisions that you make sends you going backwards again, back to the drawing board, or actually deciding altogether that you're going to change, make a detour, or completely abandon ship and take things in an entirely new direction? Everything that you had been progressing towards made sense at a certain time 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, but now not so much anymore. Your plans for the future have almost been turned around, and by the end of June, you get the realization as to where you should put your resources, your talents, your skills, your essence further. And that could be why this Chariot card was very much saying, like, don't lose control, because there is movement and acceleration and momentum happening all the way through June. However, there is a little bit of an unexpected direction, and we'll get into that in the extended. But if you're just sticking around for this reading, I thank you so much for watching, and happy solar return, happy birthday to any Geminis out there that are watching, and like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.